Hello, my Teaser King family, and welcome to a week 6 Sunday morning review and analysis. Excuse me. So, first, let's look at week 7 in college football. Another unbelievable day. 2 losers. I don't even know how many winners. 15, 16. I missed 2 10-team teasers by San Jose State last night. I'm kind of pissed about that. I'm more pissed why I took San Jose State, but I could understand in the 10-teamer. Well, what happened is I would have locked – there was 2 locks I would have done that I didn't – had to wait on the quarterback, so I put on the 10-teamer. One was the Kansas-Oklahoma over, and I think there was another one that I was reading on the quarterback, which was probably Tennessee, Alabama. I was waiting on that quarterback. I played Oklahoma. I played Kansas as it was the free play, but I would have locked Kansas, Oklahoma if I knew Gabriel was playing, but I didn't know until like yesterday. And I think we talked about it, and I said, well, I can't play it. It's too, it's 11 o'clock, and the game starts at 12, and people need to come on to get the picks. So if we walk through it, had Kansas in 15, winner. Miami, winner. Under Illinois, Minnesota, winner. Penn State is the one loser, and San Jose State the other. I did have Michigan over, so I actually liked the over better as I saw the number was 51. I said, well, that's way too low. I know they'll get 45. And but I had already put Penn State in at 13, which was I thought it'd be a closer game. Hit the Texas Iowa State under, hit Buffalo over UMass. We hit the North Carolina State Syracuse under. Again, the quarterback for North Carolina State was out, made that an easy under. Let's see, hit Ohio over Western. Georgia, both ways. You could go 32, which was what I thought. I didn't play the game, but I liked the 32, and I was scared of the under. It was 55-0. So if they score more, 62-0, the over-under would have been 64, and if Vandy scores it all. Well, they didn't. They shut them out. Then I had Tennessee over, but the bet was Tennessee over. That was the free play. Oak State, TCU, got lucky there. Jesus Christ. Have it. I have over 62, and at the end, it's 30-23. I need an overtime, and then I know it's a winner with 2 minutes left. TCU scores. It's 30-30 is 60. I need 62. They have to kick a field goal because now it goes to overtime. There at least has to be a field goal. That makes it 63. It's a winner at that point. Then it goes into overtime, and they go way over. Arkansas, the dog with Jefferson back, another winner. James Madison, Georgia Southern, over 61, another winner. Now Arizona, Washington, I teased everybody about because the guy on BetMGM says I'm going to go under because it's 73, and I made the comment you can't play over teams under, right? You either play them over or don't play them. Well, they ended up in the 90s, and the over under was 72, so he lost. And again, he doesn't understand. That's why I tell you don't listen to them. They don't understand what the hell they're doing. They're looking at a number. You can't bet like this. There was no numbers. This is all analytics as far as understanding the team. The analytics is the team an over and under team. Is it an A team or a Z team? That, and I don't even know that's analytics. I don't like to use that word. Nick, Monster Day yesterday. I was watching comfortably from my favorite steakhouse. Yeah, the only loser, I had 2 10-team teasers with one with Alex, one with another gentleman. And I got them all in, except for fucking San Jose State. And as bad as Fresno State's look, they actually won the game, and I was laying 1. So I was kind of pissed off. because those are big 10-team teasers that they would have won, and I would have got 20% of. So I was a little bit hit everything else as I'm going through. Christopher, hey TK. So I'm happy for you, Nick, and we got 4 locks today going, which I'm liking. I really love the Dallas one, and I think Tampa is going to be gold. Hey TK, happy to be back in the chat after a busy work week full of traveling. That 10 Bama game was one of the greatest games I've ever seen. Knoxville was going nuts after the game. And we had it over here. That was the free play, go over with Kansas. And had I known Gabriel, that would have been a lock. Kansas, Oklahoma over as it was. Kansas 15 got the win. I had it because Alabama really doesn't look that good this year. They barely beat Texas, who struggled with Iowa State, but Iowa State's a very good team. But they lost to Texas Tech, and then they win, in 2019 to Alabama. And then Tennessee's been lighting it up. That quarterback, see, this is what I get. Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy. Did you look at the freaking Tennessee quarterback? He's a lot better. Bryce Young can dance around a little bit, but not in the NFL ain't going to work. But I'll tell you, this hooker, this guy he's up there with Rising. Rising, if you saw the end of the USC game, he scored and got the 2-point conversion, and they won 43-42. So that was a beautiful game. Let me finish this. So Georgia, Southern, James Madison over goes as a winner. Arizona, Washington over, another winner. Rice, Florida Atlantic, another winner. I think we got into the 60s there. Clemson, I love Clemson. They were only laying 3. I thought they should be 10-point favorites. They were way up in the game. And then Florida State scores 2 touchdowns at the end. Where the hell was that when we locked them over against Wake Forest? They don't score. Now here they do against Clemson. They get 2 touchdowns. Unbelievable. But Clemson with a couple points is an easy winner. Mississippi State, once I know Levis is playing for Kentucky, I bet it over. They win. Christopher, Peyton Manning officially dubbed Hooker the new sheriff in town. That kid's great. And he's been doing it all year. And if you saw him last year, so this is where I am very special when I make everybody here money, is I spot that. Rising, Van Dyke. I mean, nobody knows about these guys. Why aren't you bringing up Rising and Van Dyke when you're talking top 5 draft picks? You should. They're clearly much better than Alabama quarterback, because Alabama's quarterback's a system, right? Just like Oklahoma, just like the SC. I'd rather have the Utah quarterback than the SC quarterback all day long over the Ohio State quarterback, who never does good in the pros. And then here's Van Dyke and Rising, and that's what I find. And McCall at Coastal Carolina, they got beat yesterday. It was really surprising, but he had a good game. So it's not that hard to find them, and that's what I do. And that's why I bet these teams. Where do you think I'm getting all the overs from? I'm looking at the quarterbacks, and then I go into quarterback stats. Oh, this quarterback's 11-0, touchdowns to interceptions. This quarterback's 3-7. That's why I bet against teams, is the quarterback. The quarterback's the key. Then the coach and the defense. So if you have a really good defense, but look at Kansas. We keep betting them. We won with them every week, and I found that it's not even the quarterback, because Bean came in, he lit up Oklahoma. It's going against Oklahoma's bullshit defense that can't stop a high school team, which is surprising with the defensive coach that they have. Anyway, let me finish up. Stanford upsets Notre Dame. I didn't like Notre Dame. They were laying too many points. North Carolina, a miracle. Okay, I got North Carolina to get to my 10th team teasers. I had them in a bet anyway. A couple guys I just bet teasers with. Here's my best 2. I get 20%. We had North Carolina, Clemson. North Carolina laying 1. They're down 4 to Duke. Late in the game, Duke's driving. Duke misses the field goal. So now I'm down 4. I got the ball. 4 plays later, I got the win. They win 38-35. I'm laying one. I can't believe it because I figure Duke's got them. Duke was up 35-31 and the ball deep and kicking a field goal, and North Carolina wins. What unbelievable. Just so hot. USC, Utah. That was my 25-unit lock. Oak State, TCU over with USC, Utah over. I tell Nick on Monday to get that over in as soon as we can. It was at 60-54. It was a joke. Goes up to 63. We get it in. Then it goes up to 65, which that's why I tell you don't worry about it. They put up an 85. Am I worried about a 1 point? That's why I sit there and the line will move a point. I go, I know, because I've got it. I've got the game. This game's going to, I don't lock because of numbers, and I'm not locking because of the formula, and I'm not locking. I don't think the game's close. When I see USC, UCLA, as long as it's or USC, Utah, and the same thing with UCLA, Utah, as long as it's under 75, it's a lock. It's going over, and I'm going to bet it. And if it was at 62 and it goes to 63, it ended at 85. That's why I don't care. And we're teasing it down. We weren't even teasing 60. We were teasing 56 or 57. And then 65. That was my 25-unit lock. And then I locked it with Washington State. And Washington State wins under. That was a 52, was a joke. That Washington State's an excellent defense. I keep telling you, it was 20, I think it was 24-17, or it was a 40. And the over-under was 53-59. This is like a Georgia game, right? I'm treating Washington State as Georgia. 53, are you kidding? Oregon State's the team that held USC to 17. This was a no-brainer. So this was also locked. Now, I also played Washington State in another teaser, I think, with today's lock. And I played TCU in another big bet with Tennessee over. So I played my locks, USC in 2 teasers, TCU in 2 teasers, Washington State in 2 teasers. That's what you do once you got it. So it takes a few weeks to really feel comfortable. Now I got the teams. Now we go crazy now. So we've got a lot of multiple teasers with the same team because we know USC, Utah. The damn game was 28-21 at half. We're laying 50. Okay, let's say it was 65, 59 for the new bettors. It's 49 at halftime. We need 2 touchdowns, which Utah tied the game up after 3 minutes in the third quarter, and USC then went up 35-28 5 minutes later. By the middle part of the third quarter, my 25-unit overlock was over. I didn't even have to worry about it, and it's the most relaxing feeling in the world to bet this huge over, and it's over in the third quarter. You don't have to sweat late fourth quarter like I did in the Oak State Texas TCU game. And that's one thing that was a little bit Oak State was playing a too deep zone. The safety's deep. So TCU didn't have as much explosive plays, and they kicked a lot of field goals. But they did at the end. They tied it at 30, and that locked it up for us. Air Force, Vegas. Vegas does not look good without Blumfeld, who the quarterback's out. Air Force finally looked like Air Force. And then my other loser, San Jose State. Why do I play them? Well, Hayner's out. They lost to freaking Connecticut. They played another terrible team. San Jose State's been looking really good. I don't know what happened here. I look, it's a bunch of punts. Fresno State played tough defense. San Jose State couldn't do anything. And a 17-10 game. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I do have the under circled. Fresno State is an over defense, so their defense isn't good. They're losing to Connecticut. Again, I don't know. It's just one of those things, and it just pissed me off because it cost me 2 10-team teasers. Oh, that was the 10th team. But otherwise, just a huge, huge day. Everything won. It was like a joke. It was like winner. Oh, they won. Oh, they won. Oh, they won. Illinois under. Oh, that one. The Texas-Iowa State game. I warned you about Texas being flat. Iowa State, great defense. The under wins easily. I mean, they scored 45. The over-under in the game was 50, so you're under 56, and they don't even get close. It was like 24-21. Anyway, so that was my college play. 3 locks, 3 winners. today now in pros, 4 locks, I believe. Let's go through the lines. Tampa Bay, 9.5, 46. Now that's up from 8. And I really don't have, the only explanation I have is all the receivers, but Julio Jones is playing. 46. Okay. Let's go. Cincinnati 3 and 42.5. Now that line's way up. It was 1.5. 3 and 42.5. So the unders come down a little bit, but the line, the money went on Cincinnati. There might be a New Orleans injury, I think. Indy 1.5, 41 against Jacksonville. It was 2 and 42. Cleveland 2.5, 43. Really hasn't moved. It's about what I had. This 3, 2.5. It looks like Zappi will be the quarterback, which is crucial. Let's see, 43. Is it an over or an under? Cleveland's an over team. We'll talk about this in a minute. Green Bay, 7.5, 45. I have warned you that Green Bay is a very strong home favorite. And off of a loss, don't think the Jets are just going to roll, just going to do what they did last week. Baltimore, 5.5, 45.5. Hasn't moved. I don't know. Daniel Jones isn't listed as, he even isn't on the injury list. I thought the guy had a high ankle sprain. Oh, I guess they're lying. Baltimore is, everybody on the team's hurt, but, they are what they are, terrible coached. Minnesota, 3.45, down from 3.5, 46. I got a feeling Bridgewater, I think, is going to start. Not Skylar Thompson, which is good for them. Do we really trust Minnesota in this spot? Laying points on the road. Frisco 4.45.5. Now that's down. Started 4.5, went to 5.5, and now it's down to 4. 45.5 is actually up from 44.5. It's a tough game because Atlanta is pretty high scoring, and Frisco with the great defense. So this is almost like a Georgia game. The Rams 10, 41.5 against Carolina. Hasn't moved. Carolina's quarterback is PJ Hill from Temple, or PJ whatever his name is. PJ something. PJ Walker, that's what it is. So PJ Walker from Temple, not a bad quarterback. They can win with them. The Rams, so many problems. I don't know how the Rams. The 10 is because Carolina is so bad or perceived to be so bad. Again, it's the NFL. You got to be careful. Arizona 2.5, 50.5. Buffalo 2.5, 54, down from 3. Philly 6.5, 42. Somebody please explain Philly being favored in the game. I'd like to find out. And San Diego 4.5, 45.5 on Monday night. So if we look at that mess, so if we walk the games down, again, Indy, Jacksonville. So I did this Friday. What really changed? Little money on Jacksonville. The running back Jonathan Taylor is out for Indy, which to me really makes the under very positive. Trevor Lawrence, so many turnovers. The guy is really terrible. I really don't understand why they keep playing him. He's clearly not a pro, so I don't get this. Play against Jacksonville 18-4. Play against them as a road dog 16-3 without Taylor kind of neutralizes it. I think this is you can only play this under. I don't see how you play this over without Taylor. Indy can't score. Jacksonville played a 13-6 with Houston. And that's the trap that you get in. You look at last week's game and you go, oh, it's 13-6. I'm going to play it under. Well, you can't do that. As I keep explaining, it's this hand. Now it's this hand. You got to forget last week. but you use it as a barometer, but you can't use it as what happened last week is going to happen this week. You can't do that. Well, that's how we won our Tampa Bay lock, right? Tampa Bay, off of 2 losses, backs against the wall. Now, we didn't look at the Kansas City game saying, well, that's what's going to happen. They're going to get lit up by Atlanta. No, we said, okay, now they have to win. And that's what I'm really driving to is they lose to Green Bay, they lose to KC, but now they must win because they're Tampa and they're Brady. And so now they have to win. Now we bet them. We don't care about last week, only the effect that they lost and now they have to win. And we're doing that with Green Bay today. So again, that's what I'm looking at. So I like the under. Frisco 445. Now that keeps dropping. Now we know Cordell Patterson, their receiver running back, their San Francisco version is out. He's got a knee. Play against Atlanta as a home dog, 13-1. Play against Atlanta overall is 19-3 and then 31-7. So basically, you bet against Atlanta. Now this year they're actually pretty good with the number, but still you can bet against them. So Atlanta's not a good home dog. They get beat, and that's what we have to look at. Niners, love the defense. Now the only thing with the Niners today is they played in Carolina last week, so they stayed on the East Coast. Does that mean anything? Well, they didn't travel back to San Francisco and then travel back to Atlanta, so that will help them. It's really, I think this is like playing Arizona. And have they played Arizona? Now, why do I say that? Well, because Atlanta's got Mariota, who's now a running quarterback. So the Niners beat they lost to the Bears. That real? Oh, that was week 1. The Bears beat the Niners 19-10 week 1. Unbelievable. I bet you they'd like to play him again, and that's my point about week 1. Then after the loss, they beat Seattle 27-7, a little bit of a running quarterback. Then they lose to Denver 11-10, and then they start waking up. They kill the Rams 24-9, but they don't have a running quarterback. Last week they killed Carolina, who does have a running quarterback in Baker Mayfield. So I'm looking for the Arizona because Kyler Murray. So they see Kyler Murray twice a year. They'll know what to do with Mariota twice a year. Christopher, the Frisco Bears game was in the pouring rain with Trey Lance. It was a mess of a game. I wouldn't take too much stock in it. Well, it's week 1. I don't take too much stock in week 1 games anyway. This is what I'm trying to teach you. Week 1 is really nothing. Week 2, and thanks for that, because it does matter quarterback, and that's what tends to get, especially in college. You have the trends, and then here comes the new quarter. So that happened with Van Dyke last year at Miami, right? The first few games, De'Ara King was the quarter, and they sucked. They lost to Michigan State. They barely beat App State. They were terrible. And then Van Dyke comes in and starts lighting it up, but Vegas doesn't adjust the totals. They're still in the 40s. Well, Van Dyke scores 45 on his own, and their defense wasn't any good. I must have won 8 or 9 locks taking Georgia under, Miami over. I mean, it was like an automatic. Oh, it's 48. Okay, we're going over with Miami. Georgia's in the 50s. We'll go under with Georgia, and every week it won. And thanks for that point. But that's what the problem is with week 1. Now we're in week 6. I know the teams now. That's why I make that comment, because they've restructured it with these 3 preseason games instead of 4, and nobody plays in them. You don't have an idea about anything, right? You've got 11 new coaches. Most of them suck. Most of them go, oh, I don't know how to coach, like the Lions coach. I don't know how to coach, but it says here I should go for it on 4th down every time. Why? Why do you kick a field goal, punt? I mean, it's okay to punt and nail them inside the 5. That works too. That'll help your defense. So it's stuff like that these coaches don't know what they're doing, and they don't get in preseason. That doesn't help them. So week 1 is really the first preseason week. So that's why it's very hard. Nobody's in shape. I go through the injury list. I just went through it. You got teams with 25 guys on the hamstring, probable, questionable, hamstring. There must be 10 hamstrings on each team. It's unbelievable. The only one that's really not hit too bad is Jacksonville for some reason. But everybody else is just crushed. Now, Baltimore, 20 guys on it. All of them. I mean, every team. Now, you can let me get back. I'll get back to San Francisco in a second. You can learn who's probable. You can see the good teams. So Kansas City tonight has 10 guys probable now. So they're injured, but they're all playing because this is a big game. They're a home dog to Buffalo, and they really want it. And that tells you that. Where if you go to other teams, and like the Lions, everybody's out. Nobody wants to play. And that's really what you get out of looking at the injury list is that the teams that really want to play and want to win, those guys play. They're probable. And that's what you have here. Anyway, so back to Frisco, Atlanta. I just think it's too much defense. Mariota sucks. All he can do. He's like 7 of 15 for 100 yards. And then, oh, by the way, he runs for 80. So just blitz them. The Niners will blitz them. I think the Niners, I don't know if they'll shut them out, but Tampa had them. The Atlanta got a few late scores to make it competitive, 21-15. But I looked for the Niners. Handled the Rams, handled Carolina. I look for them to win the game. Again, I'm using a little bit of last week. They beat Carolina. And I don't think Carolina's the worst team in the league. I think it's this team, Pittsburgh. Tampa Bay, I have them as 10-point favorites. They were down to 8. We all made the bets at 8. Now it's up to 9.5. That's why we bet early. We bet early because the professor knows where the line's going. Who's going to bet Pittsburgh in this game with freaking Pickett, who looks like he's in college still? He's waiting to play Temple. He ain't waiting to play Tampa Bay. So 9.5, over under 46. Pitt is my only Z team. They are terrible. Their defense is not strong anymore, and their offense is very weak. What I mean by weak, they don't get 300 yards in offense in a game, where the good teams, the Buffalo, the KCs, get about 450. Baltimore, Philly, those teams are getting, good middle fours. It's funny in college, you get teams that get 580, like my TCUs and my Oak States and everything. So here, I mean, Tampa Bay, don't forget, they still lost those 2 in a row. This is still backs against the wall. They still need this game at Pitt. Brady will pick them apart because that's what Brady does, right? You don't have to worry about him having a bad day here. They won't be a TJ Watt's out. They're not going to get a big pass rush. All his receivers but Julio Jones are playing, which is why the line jumped from 8 to 9.5, which you knew they'd play because they're listed as questionable. And they do that on purpose. And then here you go. Here's a team that wants to win. Game day, oh, we're all probable. Nobody's questionable except for Julio Jones. Hey, Nick, thoughts on Green Bay Bucks teaser? Green Bay is back against the wall, too. Well, I think you probably got him with the Dallas game, don't you? I think that was what I had played it as. But, yeah, I think if you want to play him in another teaser, I'm just worried that if you get a 9.5, you got to lay 3.5, which I hate to lay more than 3. And you should already have him at a good number under 3. But, yeah, I think that'll work. Let me get to that. But, yeah, I think that's good. Christopher, Julio Jones is born with a questionable tag on him. He is the worst hamstrings. It's all bullshit. It's just he's getting paid to do nothing. But, yeah, he's had hamstrings for 5 years. This is actually a knee, not a hamstring. But what do you believe? I mean, the Daniel Jones of the Giants had a high ankle sprain that apparently went away after 3 days. So, yeah, it's hard to say. But I don't know why Tampa picked him up. But, he went after Antonio Brown, and he went crazy. So I don't know. It's a shame because Brady, maybe Randy Moss will come out. So anyway, Tampa Bay here again, backs against the wall, playing a Z team. Brady's starting to light it up. They must win. I like Tampa here. Over under 46, it's hard because I don't know what you're going to get from Pitt. I mean, how many interceptions is Pickett going to throw? Is he going to score? I don't think it'll be Buffalo 45-3, although I would love it if it was because we got Tampa, but definitely like Tampa. So Tampa minus 3.5, better under 3. Again, that's why we bet it early. That's why I laugh when the sharps come in late. That's bullshit. The sharps, I'm the sharp. You go in as soon as you like the game, as soon as you see the line, and you know which way the line's going. That's what a sharp does. You're not paying me to advertise, so you don't get to advertise. Okay. So I'll take Tampa there. They have to win it. Brady, he's going to get you, I'd say at least a 10-point win. Pickett, what's he going to do? Tampa's got a great defense. So as far as I can see it, with the great defense and Brady against a weak offense, this should be all Tampa. Cleveland 2.5, 43.5 against New England. Play against Cleveland is 19-3 the last 22. Brissett looks better than I thought. He did play at Florida, but he was lousy. New England, Zappe looks like he's playing because Jones looks like he's doubtful. Because that's what you get. You get worried about. I got worried about it in the Dallas game. I don't want Prescott playing. He's going to fuck everything up. I want Cooper Rush playing. Then I keep betting Dallas. If I get Prescott, I'm off the game. And that's what I worry about. And that's what I had in college, waiting on Oklahoma, waiting on Kentucky, waiting on Arkansas. It cost me at least 2 locks. The quarterback injuries, I would have definitely bet Arkansas as a dog to BYU. I had Kansas, but I would have locked the over, and I did play Kentucky at the end as they needed to. They did get the win. I went over with them, but it was a low-scoring game. It was a 44. The over/under we teased it down to 43, but. Again, Levis plays, Kentucky wins. So, yeah, the quarterback. But as far as I know, it's going to be Zappe. I like the game over. I don't know. I don't love New England in a money line. I hate these money lines. Please don't play the money lines. First of all, the odds are fucked. There was one, I think they were laying 10,000, and if you took the dog, you got 1,500. I'm going, well, no, if I lay 10,000, why don't I get 10,000? That's the problem with money lines. If you like the dog, you're not getting a good value. They kick down the favorite. And I've had that. Well, look at Tennessee yesterday. You think you played the money line. Do you think you got a true what you should have got? No. That's why I don't like it. Christopher, I'm a fan of the over in this game. Yeah, I am too. Cleveland's an over team. They score a lot. Their defense isn't great. With Zappe, I think New England can get into the 20s. This is a 43. This is 37. This is nothing. Also play against Cleveland 19-3. I think this game stays close. I think Chubb scores, but I think New England will find a way to, with Zappe, keep it. They went into Green Bay and kept it close. There's really no difference here except for Cleveland. Well, they both run the ball well. So I think New England can keep it close, but I'd much rather play over 37.5 in a pro game with a good over team and New England, who could be a good over team with Zappe. Hey, Bobby, what's up? How are you, Bobby? Bo is in the house. Glad you're in the house. We made a fortune yesterday. 3 locks win. I only had 1.5 losers. I lost to San Jose. Cost me 2 10-team teasers with the crowd, with my family. So great day. We're going through the games right now. Let me know if you have a question on anything. I slept with my bar of silver last night. Well, wait till you buy like 10 ounces of gold. Then you'll really have fun. James, Dak likes to find mistake opportunities. He's terrible. Dak is not a good quarterback. He can't read a defense. He has way too many turnovers. That's why I like Cooper Rush. And you keep playing Dallas under because he doesn't turn it over. And that defense with Micah Parsons is just good luck. And where I really love him is Micah Parsons against the running quarterback. He's faster. What do you think? What do you think Hurts is going to do today with Micah Parsons? Not a whole lot. All right, Minnesota, Miami. Minnesota's 3.5. Miami will have. I thought they were going to have Thompson. We'll have Bridgewater. Looks like he's probable. He can at least use Tyreek Hill and Waddle more than Skylar Thompson can. Over under 45. I can't trust Minnesota on the road. Miami, I don't know. Bridgewater, I don't mind. Over under 45. I don't know what to do with this game. There's a small trend. Miami 9-1 is a home dog. So I think Miami keeps it close, but I don't know. Kirk Cousins, he's like Dak. He finds ways to turn the ball over. What will Jefferson do? Miami's defense does suck, so Minnesota should put points on the board here. Green Bay, the Jets. So to answer Nick's question, Green Bay 7.5, over under 45.5. Green Bay's 18-4 as a home favorite. Yes, they lost in London, and I warned you about that. They are not a good road favorite, and they got to travel to London. It fucks up their whole cycle, their schedule. They fly back. That's still going to bother them a little. The Jets, okay, who did they beat last week? Miami without a quarterback. Okay, fine. At Green Bay, off of a loss with Aaron Rodgers, they have to win, and they play very well as a home favorite. I do think Green Bay, this is where I'm trying to get you into not looking at the Jets beating Miami at home. And I don't even know how they put up 40. It was like 19-17 in the fourth quarter. Next thing I know, it's 40. Andrew, Kansas burnt me. Why did Kansas burn you? Kansas won. What are you talking about? Was this Canadian? You don't get a full points. It was teased to 15. You got to do teasers here, Andrew. That's what I talk about. Kansas in 15 won. Kansas over won. So Kansas should not have burnt you. Yeah, it was over city in college yesterday. Kansas, Bama, TCU, and USC games all flew over. Well, that was my lock, TCU, USC. However, the ones under, I won. Washington State was the other lock under, as well as the Illinois, Minnesota under, and the Iowa State, Texas under. So, yeah, there was good unders also. It was a good total day. And I even had Michigan over. I had Penn State, and then I re-looked at the game, and I said, this game's going over. The under's too low, and Michigan got the over by themselves. But, yeah, very good game. The Bama game, I loved it. USC, I loved it. I just said it was over in the third quarter, and that was my lock, so I loved it. Christopher, Miami has their third-string quarterback, and I'm just saying, staying away from the game. Yeah, I don't know. I saw Bridgewater as questionable, as probable. So are you sure that they're starting Skylar Thompson and not Bridgewater? He had a concussion, but he's probable. So I'm not quite sure you're going to get Skylar Thompson. I don't like him. He's from Kansas State. Why would you get a quarterback from Kansas State? They don't throw the ball. I'd rather get this guy from Kansas. This Bean. So I said, Bean comes in. He looks good. Oklahoma, again, lets up 50 points. What kind of defense is this? That's 4 games in a row. They've given up over 40 points. Unbelievable. Oh, did it change? I didn't catch. This morning I looked on the injuries. So I went on covers.com. Let's go there right now. So at about 10:30, so before the show, again, it's really hard to get the injuries. Are they going to be updated on covers.com? All right, so So let's go to Miami. Yeah, so if you see here, it says Bridgewater probable Sunday concussion. So he looks like he is I would assume he's going to be playing over Skylar Thompson, my guess. I mean, if he's probable, he's playing. Andrew, I figured 10.5 was, well, you won with Kansas in 10.5. They lost by 10. I know you're Canadian and maybe you're a little slow, but come on, you had 10.5's a winner. They lost 42-32. They lost by 10. 10.5's a winner. Oh, you Canadians, my God. And if you would have got the hock, it was USC over, TCU over, and USC over, Washington State under. And they all won. Christopher, oh, yeah, now it says he's probable. I checked at 10 a.m., I guess. Yeah, it's hard to say. Again, Vegas is like open at 7 a.m. today, so you really want to check your lines at 10:30 or so. I also looked on a different site, so they may be why. Yeah, it could be. I don't know what's the best. Some of these sites are terrible for injuries, like Scores and Odds. It just says, well, the guy's hurt, he might play. I mean, what kind of answer is that? Bonilla, Andrew has been drinking too much of that Canadian whiskey. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. Well, he likes my Canadian Club bottle. So anyway, where are we? Baltimore. So we like Green Bay -1.5. The Jets with Zach Wilson. Okay, fine. It says your message was held for review, Andrew, because you swore, but I unhid it. Yeah. See, there you go. I'm making you money. You don't even realize it. So I like Green Bay to win. Again, it's 1.5. They're at home. They are very strong at home, as I can see, 18-4. The Jets aren't a great road dog. Okay, the Jets beat Miami, and that's where you gotta then. Now we're into this week. Green Bay off of a loss, playing the Jets. If we look at the defense, the Jets are an over defense. What does that mean? That means Rodgers should be able to light them up. Now, we know the Jets can score a little bit. Green Bay's more of an under defense, which this is where I'm not trusting the numbers because Giants put up 27. Now, they did hold Tampa down. Let's see, so they give up 27 to the Giants, and then the week before, 24 to New England. So I kind of compare this to the New England game. They win 27-24. That's all we're looking at here. Just win the game by 1 point, 1.5. So I think Green Bay gets that. Is it my best game to give to you, Nick? No, not really, but you can play if you're interested in to play it. Yeah, but play it small. We have 4 locks going today, and it's not one of them. So I would advise one of the others. Okay. Baltimore 5.5, 45 against the Giants. Play against Baltimore 18-4. Baltimore gets overvalued. They're like Alabama, right? Alabama, no matter what, should never have been 10 points over Tennessee yesterday. No way. My line on that game was -7. Alabama -7. That's with Bryce Young playing. That was my line. And I love Tennessee. I thought they'd win, or it would be very close. But they were 9-point favorites, 10-point favorites. Are you kidding me? That's why I bet a lot of over-unders, right? I really don't know. Do I really want to take Tennessee against Alabama? However, I do know there's going to be 1,000 points scored. They hit 100 points. I loved it. So, I mean, that's what again, I was over at halftime. I was almost there. And by the third quarter, I was over. So, and I love that's the free pick. So nobody can question me. that with the Kansas was the free pick. So Baltimore 5.5. Where are we getting 5.5 from? The Giants. They got a lot of injuries. Jones will play. They're basically going to run. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. This is basically a running game. Over under 45. Baltimore has an over defense. They're an over team. They score upper 20s, give up upper 20s. Giants, more of an under team. Somehow they got 27 on Green Bay last week. That I'll blame to the travel going to London. I don't know. I've marked the game over and I've marked the game the Giants playing against Baltimore. I don't know. How do I trust the Giants? Especially how do I trust Daniel Jones? So I'm really at a loss here of what the fuck to do. This is a game I probably watch. If I have to play, I think I'm playing the Giants. I know everybody's the big Lamar Jackson. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'd rather have Mahomes than Russell Wilson, although even Russell Wilson this year is not as good. But I'd rather have Mahomes. And I'd rather have Brady and Rodgers. And I'd rather have Rising at Utah. And I'd rather have Van Dyke in Miami than Daniel Jones. However, I guess this will be a close game. But again, with Baltimore, you don't know which Lamar shows up. This is the problem betting offense. You don't know what shows up. Betting defense, you know defense shows up. So this is a game I'm just not going to even touch. If you have to, play against Baltimore 18-4. You take the Giants in 11.5. Hope they're not too much time jet lag from going to London and go from there. And again, they won. So Baltimore, I think they're off. They did beat Cincinnati last week. How the hell did that happen? Cincinnati is now up to 3. They were 1.5, and I liked them then, getting 4.5. Now it's 3. Over under 43. Cincy's an under team. They don't score a lot, as you can see last week, 19-17. That's about the games you get with Cincy. They got a strong defense. Their offense, I think they have offensive line issues, and they really don't like Mixon as their running back. I think they need a better one. Who's that? I'd rather them draft the Texas running back. That guy looks like an animal. So Cincinnati laying the 3. They're 21-5, their last 26 in a teaser with Joe Burrow. That's the difference a quarterback makes, right? At 3, I don't like Cincinnati like I liked them at 1. Getting 4.5, I like them. Over under 43, I think this game, because it's 43, I think you can get over 37. Again, Cincy with the strong defense. New Orleans seems to score. Kamara's playing. Taysom Hill's playing. Again, Mike Thomas is out as usual. I just, and again, I'm watching last week's New Orleans game against Seattle, and I see they moved the ball. Is it going to be that easy? Well, Cincinnati's not going to just shut you. They're not that strong. They're not Dallas. So I think New Orleans can score enough. I think 43 go over 37, I think is, you're again, 19-17 with Baltimore. Yeah, it could be, again, Burrow and Chase are going home to Louisiana where they played at LSU. So I think this will be a little bit more high scoring. Yes, since he's got a good defense, but New Orleans will find a way to score. I like Andy Dalton. He won't turn it over too much. And then we go from there. So I think you go over in the game. I would have liked Cincy minus the 1.5. I like them at the 3. I don't like plus 3 now. And if you can get over 3, I like Cincy. I think they'll win the game. Better defense. Carolina and the Rams, my oh my. PJ Walker going for Carolina. Baker is out. They are 14-1 as a road dog. They have a weak offense. This is a W team. They don't score, and their defense isn't that good. The Rams are a W team. This is the first W team I've ever seen laying 10. They don't score. Stafford sucks. Their defense is okay. They got Aaron Donald, but they don't. I don't know. They're not really, shutting down teams. They're not dominating. Last week they did good. I think LA. They lost to Dallas 22-10. So they give up 22 to Dallas. Cooper Rush. They get 10, which is high against Dallas as I'm coming up to that game. So the Rams, I don't trust them laying 4. I don't care. PJ Walker looks pretty good. He's from Temple. He's played before. And when he played, I thought he looked good. He's like Teddy Bridgewater. He's there, but he doesn't really hurt you that much. Carolina, this should be I think the only way is play this game under because Stafford can't score. Carolina can't. Just double team Cooper Kupp, and then Stafford's dead. They're not running the ball. There's no running. There's no balance. So I don't know. I mean, if there's no way that 47.5, there's no way this game hits 47.5. I'll put it that way. What am I missing here? Let's go, boys. James, fantasy sites have faster injury updates. Yeah, maybe. Was the capital of Canada, boys? Ottawa, eh? Don Cherry's house, maybe. Andy Dalton is an upgrade for the Saints. I agree. He doesn't turn the ball over. He should be starting. Andrew, Buffalo quarterback over 300 passing yards. Oh, don't get into that shit, please. I don't want to get into how many yards a guy gets or not, unless we're going against Georgia's defense, and then I would say go under. Buffalo quarterback over, how's he going to get 300 passing yards? Well, because who knows? I'm not paying attention to that stuff. I'm looking at the team. I'm getting the matchups. I'm looking at that. I'd rather bet the game over than bet over 300 yards. He runs too much. KC will put a cover 2 in, not to let him score that much. So yeah, they don't have a running attack, but why the 300? Christopher, the Rams are broken. I think this is the game of Vegas capitalizing on public perception of people still thinking. No, I think this is thinking that without Mayfield, Carolina really sucks. And the Rams are way overvalued because they won the Super Bowl. And Vegas, whenever I've been in Vegas, which is a lot on a Sunday, a lot of LA people drive down and bet on the Rams and the Chargers. And so they make the lines higher, knowing these people are just idiots going to bet on the Rams and the Chargers and the 49ers. So they overspread those. It's like Alabama. It's like Notre Dame. We know everybody's going to bet on Notre Dame, so we're going to make the Notre Dame spread 5 points higher. I mean, look at yesterday. Notre Dame loses to Stanford, and they were 17-point favorites. Notre Dame's not 17-point favorites over. I'd take Toledo with 17. I thought Toledo is a good team. Why, Andrew? Because he runs too much, right? And I don't know. He's going to get 300, and you're thinking it's the championship game. Will Mahomes keep the ball? Are they going to run? They can run now. So there's a lot of circumstances about that. So I'm not a big Josh Allen fan, as you know, and 300 yards against Kansas City. What happens when he gets sacked? Does that subtract from the 300? So I leave that stuff alone. I don't know. Billy Lee. Hey, Billy Lee, welcome. Who go win today, NFL Masters? Who's going to win today? Well, I'm going through all the games right now, so just listen up. James, yeah, Rams had large roster turnover from last year, not the same team. Well, then they got a lot of injuries. They don't have running, and they only have Cooper Kupp. So, yeah. Andrew, you'll see. Shootout. I'm not saying it won't be a shootout, but I don't know that he gets 300 yards. So let me get to that game. So anyway, Billy Lee, I'm giving you picks as we go. So Arizona, Seattle, Arizona 2.5, 50.5. Seattle's a very live dog here, and I really like the game over. Both teams are over teams. Both teams have weak defenses with over teams. Seattle against New Orleans just lit them up. Lockett and the other, and Metcalf should light up Arizona. Murray gives you a little bit of running touchdowns. Over 44.5. That's the best play here. You could play Seattle as a home dog. They are scoring. Both defenses suck. So it's really a better over game than it is Seattle as the dog, but you can take Seattle as the home dog also. They're looking good. All right, Buffalo 2.5, down from 3, 54, up from 53. Kansas City's an over team. They score a lot. Their defense gives up a lot. Look at the Tampa game. Buffalo is actually an A team. They have a good defense, although I do question. Right, they beat the Rams, they beat Tennessee, and they beat Pittsburgh convincingly. And then it was a 20-20 game with Miami and 23-20 with Baltimore. So they haven't faced a Mahomes or a Brady or a Rodgers, any of those types, right? Stafford, okay, week 1 doesn't count. So let's look at the last 3. Miami, Tagliabue gets hurt in the game. You've got, and he was lighting them up. Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback. Doesn't count. Last week he plays Pitt, and they play who? He plays Pickett. So Buffalo, while they're an A team and a low defense, hasn't really played a Mahomes. And we know what Mahomes did to him last year. So this is really, to me, do I take KC as the home dog and fuck with Buffalo, or do I take the over? Now, I did take Baltimore as the home dog to Buffalo, praying that Buffalo would lose, and then I would have locked them last week, but that didn't happen. Lamar Jackson didn't come out for the second half. So with that said, and we got about an hour, so game starts at 1. With that said, I think the game goes over. I think 54, so we go 48. I think I'm in at 47. You go over on it, 27-20. All right, Andrew, give me the score then. You want to go 300 yards, you have to give me the score. Billy Lee, who I picked today, King Masters. No, Masters is the class. I'm the professor, Teaser King, and this is a master's level class. That's what the title is. I just kind of abbreviate it because in YouTube, it only shows so much of the title, so I can't put everything in the title that I put in the description. So if you'd have listened yesterday, you would have got the free college play, which was Tennessee over and Kansas in a teaser. These are all in teasers. That's what I do, and that's where we make all my money. So I like the game over because I think there'll be points, even if they're in big cover 2s, which I'm sure they'll be in, will hurt a little bit. I mean, that's what they're doing to KC, right? We'll just play cover 2. I'll just play 2 deep safeties, and you got to dunk and dink it. I think KC does the same to Buffalo, and I think they blitz them a little bit. Do I want KC an 8.5? Now, as I said, to show you this, 90% of the injuries on KC are probable today. So they're all playing, as is Buffalo, whoever can play. I got to go over. I got to believe the game's in the 30s. That's what I looked at in college. Like USC, Utah, I go, the game's going to be at least mid-30s. That's a 70. The over-under was 63 at the time, so over 57, I'm getting a 70-point game. That's why it's a lock. That's why you figure the score first. So in this game, I figure this game in the 30s. 35-33, something like that. 35-31. I'll be shocked if it's not because KC doesn't have a defense. Buffalo will score, then KC needs to score, and they're not going to stop Mahomes. So it ends up where this should be a definitely 60-point game. Can Buffalo blow them out? I doubt it. What does KC do? KC, very conscious of this game, obviously want it very badly. So I looked for KC. The only difference is they don't have Tyreek Hill, which could affect it a little bit because he was really – Buffalo couldn't handle him. So we'll see. But I think the prudent play here is the over. If you don't like the over, I would take the home dog in this game. No real trends. Dallas, Philly. Dallas, the under team. Philly, an A team. But I question it because they played weak teams. Philly's 6.5, over under of 42.5. Can anybody tell me why Philly's 6.5 point favorites over Dallas? Can anybody tell me why everybody thinks Philly's the number 1 team in the league? If they not heard of Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Green Bay, just to name a few. I mean, you got to be freaking kidding me. Philly's not the best team. Jalen Hurts is not the best quarterback. They have a good defense. Dallas has the best defense, although the Niners have a very, very strong defense. Statistically, the Niners have the number one defense, and then it's Dallas. Dallas sucks. All right, I'll show the message. I'll say hi to Kerry for me. Okay, 42-38, so you're going over. So why fuck with 300 yards? What do you make for Kerry? Is this breakfast in bed, Kerry, or what? Dallas sucks, yes, but look at their defense. You're missing the point, Andrew. We're betting the defense. We don't care about the offense. We want a low-scoring game. That is the whole point. This is my free play for everybody. Take Dallas under. Dallas plays under. They don't score. French toast. Okay. Maple syrup, like you go out to the tree in the backyard and take the syrup out. Which sportbook app is best for teasers? I don't know. I don't use one, but stay away from MGM. Everybody else is maybe 11-10 or 12-10, but they're 13-10, and they were 13-10 a few years back. Yeah, I love the maple syrup, the Canadian, the maple leaf, the maple syrup. Very good. Bon appetit, Kerry. So I don't know. I maybe DraftKings, I don't know, but stay away from MGM. Their odds suck. 13-10 is ridiculous. Don't play it. This game definitely go under. Look what Dallas did last week to the Rams. Look what they've done every week. That's why I like Cooper Rush. It's conservative play calling, no turnovers, short pass. They run Ezekiel Elliott 22-10. That's what I want in this game. This game won't get there. This game will be under. This game will be in the teens. I doubt it hits the 20s. Over under 42, we go under 48. I've already got it in, I think, at 44, under 50. But take the under in this game. There's no way Philly should be 6-point favorites because there's a guy called Micah Parsons on Dallas who's faster than Jalen Hurts. So when Jalen Hurts tries to do his little running because he can't pass, nobody's going to be open. They'll take away Smith because Dallas has good secondary. And they're going to blitz the hell out of Hurts, which is how you play these running quarterbacks. You blitz them. Then they can't use their speed, and you got them fucked. Well, Micah Parsons is going to sack him at least 3 times today, like I told Jay Wood Stafford. He's so fast, and you can't really block him. So, look, we're betting a.k.a. Lawrence Taylor today. We're taking – this is how you play Lawrence Taylor. You bet the unders because he dominates. That's what you do here. Micah Parsons, you bet these games under with Dallas, especially without Prescott. If Prescott plays, he fucks it up because now he turns it over. He gives a pick 6. He takes his own defense out of the game. Rush plays them. They get rest, and they get low-scoring games. Take this game under. Philly's got a strong defense. Philly is not the best team in the league. You got to be freaking kidding me. Last but not least, Denver, San Diego. San Diego's down to 4.5, 46. Let's go. Play against San Diego, 32-6. Just in any teaser. Just tease against San Diego, 32-6. Play against them as a home favorite, 19-2. You got them as a home favorite. Now, how bad is Denver? This we don't know. Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. If Mahomes went there, it would take him 6, 7, 8 games to get used to the new coach, the new system, and the new receivers. I don't care. It's taking him time to get rid of without Tyreek Hill to get used to the new receivers, Smith-Schuster and the other one. So I think Mahomes is finally getting there. Against Tampa, he did. And then last week, who did they light up? Last week, they light up, 30-29 to Oakland. That's about what I expect today. No defense, going to score, go over with it. That's the whole key to it. So it's taking Russell Wilson time. But the difference is they got an idiot coach. You got a coach who doesn't know how to coach. You got Russell Wilson, the great quarterback, who doesn't have, he's got Jerry Jeudy. The Hamler from Penn State doesn't apparently do anything. I don't know if he doesn't know who do I throw the ball to? Jerry Jeudy, Melvin Gordon fumbles too much, so I don't know who my running backs are. How good's my defense? They are an under team, so they don't score a lot, but they play good defense. San Diego, we know Bosa's out. We know Keenan Allen's out, so 2 stars are out. Denver's gonna. I just think this. I think I would have to take Denver as the dog in this game. I don't know if I can go over under, probably under, because Denver seems to have a defense and seems not to score. So either way, I think, this is a game I'm watching. I'm not betting. This is where I don't know enough to bet, like Minnesota with Cousins. So the plays, Jacksonville, Indy, under. San Francisco, over Atlanta. Tampa Bay, over Pitt. Cleveland, New England, go over. Green Bay. The Giants, I guess. Cincinnati, over. Seattle, over. Over in the Buffalo game. Dallas, under. So the free play is going to be take Dallas. Let's go KC over with Dallas, under. That's our free picks for the free ones. Bovada. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. So those are so you got to learn to not play like Minnesota, Miami. Just watch it. I mean, Kirk Cousins, who the hell knows what you get? Miami, probably Bridgewater. I don't know if you go over or under now. I had it under because of Skylar Thompson. Here comes Bridgewater. They should score. Minnesota doesn't. I don't know who Minnesota is. Are they that strong? I mean, the Bears, they had to beat the Bears 29-22. They don't have a defense. Miami with Bridgewater should score. So maybe it's an over with Bridgewater. Again, Baltimore Giants, I mean, you got to be careful on that one. Carolina, LA, maybe an under there. But you don't play every game. You look for the best ones and just focus on those and play those. That's how you do this. So that's what I try to walk you away from. My overalls. So teams you should play in a teaser, just in a teaser. Minnesota, Buffalo, Green Bay, Philly, Cincy, Tampa Bay, and Miami. These are teams in a teaser you play and you win. Now, Miami with the injury, I don't know. Cincinnati, Tampa, yeah. Philly, maybe they win a close one. Green Bay, absolutely. Buffalo at Kansas City, I don't know. And then Minnesota at Miami, maybe. These are the teams you play against in a teaser, and there's a lot more of them. And these are usually the bad teams. San Diego, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Baltimore, Washington, Atlanta, Minnesota, Detroit, Houston, and the Jets. So we got Green Bay on one end and the Jets on the other. So it's a Green Bay playing a weak Jet team. Now the Jets are getting better, and as they get better, this is the beauty of my stats. That's what I use stats for, but I don't use formulas. So I can see who's good. Now, do I just stick with this and that's all? No, but it's another method. So as the Jets, if they start getting better and covering, then they come off the list. That's the beauty of it. And then as teams start getting weaker or stronger, like Cincinnati is now on the playlist. They weren't before. That's how I adjust. Right now I can see, look at Cincinnati. They're strong in a teaser. So now I start betting Cincy. So that's why I like them. However, they get adjusted also. So now I thought they'd be 7-point favorites. At 1.5, I like Cincy. At 3, I don't like them as much. But again, this is more of an over game, I think, at 43. But at 1.5, I definitely like Cincinnati. So that's what you see. So you catch the teams. Jacksonville has always been a terrible against the number. I thought they were getting better this year, they won at Indy and then won at San Diego. I go, oh, okay. And they're scoring points. Oh, okay. And then here comes Trevor Lawrence. 5 turnovers against Philly. I did win the under. And then, Philly's a good under team. So that's why it's good to play them under. And then you get another under team. You take Dallas. But Lawrence then he scores 6 points. He throws a pick in the end zone last. What the fuck is that? You got the ball at the 5-yard line, and he threw it right to the guy. It's like he doesn't even know what he's looking at. So again, Lawrence keeps Jacksonville under. They got a pretty good defense. Indy, Taylor's out. It's a mess game. It's an under game basically. So I think that's it. So you look for your best teams. You look for your best matchups. The teams. We only have one Z team, Pitt. We have one, maybe two backs against the wall. Tampa Bay still needs to win. Maybe Green Bay off of a loss. Frisco stayed on the East Coast. That could be a little problem there. New England starting Zappy, so now you got a whole new dynamic to their team. Cleveland's a good over. The Jets seem to be scoring. Let's see what happens in Green Bay. They'll probably score a lot. I don't think they won't. Over under a 45. I do like that over 39.5. It's not like Green Bay is this great defensive team, so I think they score if the Jets are serious about putting up 40-point games. I don't know. But back to Zach Wilson, I mean, he's okay, but now they're not at home against Miami. They're at Green Bay, where Green Bay plays very well. And you got the Lombardi, oh my God, this is Vince Lombardi and the Packers, and teams get psyched out a little bit. Well, Baltimore, we know. The Giants don't have any. They got all the receivers are out. All the Barkley has a hurt shoulder, but I'm sure he'll play. Jones is a terrible quarterback. All he does is run. I mean, I'm almost trying to think of a way to develop another method for these running quarterbacks because so many of them. You got Hurts, you got Murray, you got Josh Allen a little. Murray, not Stafford, not New Orleans. See, the good quarterbacks don't run. Burrow, Rodgers, Herbert, Mahomes, they don't really run. They run when needed, 3rd and 10, and the blitz is coming and they need to escape. They can run, but they're not running. They're looking to throw. Versus a Hurts who just wants to run. And even Josh Allen runs way too much for me. And then like the Daniel Jones and the Trevor Lawrence and the Fields, these guys suck. I mean, they're not quarterbacks. So that's what I have. So I'm trying to think of a method to do that. In college, I notice it's similar where a lot of these quarterbacks will run, but the good ones don't run. I mean, look at Hook. Here's Herndon Hooker. If he's not one of the top 5 draft picks, there's something wrong. This guy just lit up Alabama. Now, he doesn't run a little bit, but that's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to throw those beautiful long passes. I'll tell you, if you're looking for a coach, Detroit Lions, I'd be grabbing this Tennessee coach, Josh Heupel, very good, explosive offense. He just freaking beat Alabama. He's got Georgia coming up in 2 weeks. You want a coach, make him an offer. That guy's a coach, okay? You're going to win with that guy. That's what you look for. Kobe. I got Dallas plus 12.5 and Jags plus 8. You liking that? I like the under in both those games better than that. I do like Dallas in 12.5. The Jags in 8. Then you got to trust Trevor Lawrence. Although you do have Taylor out. If you've got that play, I'm a little worried about Jacksonville. I would tell you to have switched it to the unders in those games. Do you ever tease through 0? All the time. I teased through 0 yesterday with Clemson. It doesn't matter because I'll make my own line. So Clemson should have been a 7-point favorite over Florida State. So I should be laying 1. The spread was 2.5 or 3. So I'm getting 2.5 and 3 in a game I should be laying 1. I don't care. All Clemson had to do was win. They were up 20 points. Florida State gets the 2 late touchdowns, and they still win by 6 or 7. You don't care about the 0. It's a moot point. Anybody that says it doesn't mean anything. So you tell them from the professor, it's a bullshit thing to not do. Tease through zero, because that's not the point of it. The point is getting rid of a -3.5. That's the point of the tease, right? I don't want to lay 3.5 with Clemson. I get 2.5. I don't really care about the 2.5. I know they're going to win. I don't want to lay the 3.5. So the first thing is you got to know the teams, you got to know the games, and you got to know who's going to win. And once you know who's going to win, then it doesn't matter about it. So I knew Clemson was going to beat them. All I did was wipe out the 3.5. So I don't care about the 0. Vanilla, I no longer consider Rodgers on the same level as Brady and Mahomes. He is not reliable and loses to bad teams in bad fashion, like Sunday when he didn't score the whole second half. I don't know, because I don't know that you can blame Rodgers. I mean, he just lost Devontae Adams. Who's his receivers? So as good as Rodgers is, who does he throw the ball to? That, I think, is the problem. Watched them today. I think they beat the Jets off of a loss. At home, they always play well. They did win in Tampa. So I don't know. I don't know that you blame him for the Giants scoring on 2 Wildcat. They don't even have the quarterback in the game. They're running Wildcat and scoring 2 touchdowns. I don't think that's on Rodgers. He's still he's still one of the best. I'm not going to go there with you that he's not, but it's not him. The coach doesn't know what he's doing. The defense isn't as strong, so it just tends to, it's like Russell Wilson at Denver. You're going to blame Russell Wilson because Denver doesn't have receivers and running backs and defense. So I don't know. Now Mahomes is a whole different animal, and so is Brady. They will you to win. So I do like them, but I'm not betting against Rodgers today because I'm blaming him against the Giants. We don't know what happens. You got to realize sometimes the team gets the ball, the Giants, and they go on a 10-play drive that eats up 8 minutes. And then Green Bay goes 3 and out, and the Giants get the ball and then go on another big drive. He's not on the field, so he can't score in the second half. Now at the end, he drove down, but I thought the play call was terrible. They were waiting for it. You got one receiver on the end, and it's the last play of the game. Of course he's going to throw it to him. Too obvious. I would have ran the ball at the end there, or some sort of draw, or that little underneath shuttle pass that I think Utah did, where the tight end comes underneath and the quarterback just flips it. All the rush is coming, and you just go like that. That play I would have liked. The play he called I didn't like, but I don't blame Rodgers on it. It was batted down, but terrible play call. Christopher, Josh Allen has been running a lot less this year and trusting his arm more. Well, but the problem I have with him when he runs is he doesn't slide. He's going to get crushed. Somebody's going to crush him, right? And believe me, there's a lot of teams, a.k.a. Miami, wants to get a little revenge for Bridgewater, so they will crush him too. It's just every quarterback's going to get hit and hurt. That's why they slide. Mahomes slides. Russell Wilson slides. Why do you think they slide? That's the problem I have with him, but he does run too much, and he runs like a sweep. Right, he just goes back. The guards pull and he runs. It's insane, man. You got Cook on your team. Run him. Kobe, I had Clemson yesterday too. Yeah, the way Clemson's starting to play, that's another thing I do is see who's getting better, and then play them. So yes, Clemson's looking much better, and Florida State, I'm not sold on them. They had a good comeback try yesterday, but. Where were they against my Wake Forest team? I didn't like that. But Neela, Brady threw it to no names for years, and even Brett Favre made the no-name Viking receivers look like stars when he was there, like Sidney Rice, etc. I agree with you. Brady, the 1 year he had Randy Moss, he threw 50 touchdown passes. So I agree. Well, Brady actually threw to Gronk, so that was his receiver. Was Gronk and then White out of the backfield. So that's what Brady had to do because New England doesn't know how to draft receivers. They always draft these stupid receivers. I don't know what they're freaking doing drafting receivers. It's not hard to draft receivers. Watch TCU Oak State yesterday, and there's 7, 8 receivers you can draft. Go draft them. It's not hard. Texas Tech, now UCLA, Utah, USC. Look at USC's receivers. It's not hard to draft receivers, so I don't know why New England can't. But I agree with that. But we'll see. I think Rodgers is still he's a winner, so I still like it. But I don't like he's been losing. Like the Niners will run the ball 50 times on him in the championship game, and they lose. I don't blame Rodgers for that. What's he going to do? He's got nothing to – he can't control the defense. That's the coach. But, yeah, I agree. But he's still pretty good. Bonilla. But, yes, I still like Packers to win today. Yeah. Look at Joe Namath, right? At the year they won the Super Bowl, they had the number 1 defense in the league. And they won. And then – what happened to Namath after that? He got hurt, and the defense wasn't as strong. It's a combination thing. Tom Brady only won Super Bowls when he had the top defense. When he had terrible defenses, they didn't win. That's why they didn't win for 10 years. They didn't have the defense. That's the whole key to it, is you're looking for defense. That's why we like Dallas under today. I don't give a shit about Cooper Rush. Keep Prescott out because he throws too many interceptions. But let the defense win the game. Play to your play. Let's play Georgia football. They play to their defense. Bennett does enough to get points, and they shut out a Vanderbilt team who averages 35 points a game, and they shut them out. That's what you play to. You play to your defense. So there's a serious lack of defense in the league, but Frisco and Dallas, Phillies isn't bad. Buffalo, I question because they just don't play good. Cincinnati's defense is getting better. I question Green Bay's. I question Minnesota's. I question New England's. Tampa has a good defense. And Jacksonville, I believe, has a good defense. So those are your teams that I look to bet with because I want to bet defense because the quarterback, like Trevor Lawrence, throws an interception in the end zone when they should beat freaking Houston. And so you can't trust him. You can't trust Kirk Cousins. So that's what you do. So I think you bet the defenses. But I think after the lot, and they're at home. So the other thing is you got to know when to bet them. Like there's teams that are like Arizona cannot win at home and never loses on the road as a road dog. And you got a lot of teams that have these strange little, they're better as road favorites. They're better as home. Like Green Bay is a much better home favorite, and they're a terrible road favorite. Pittsburgh's like that too with Roethlisberger. They're a good home favorite, but as a road favorite, they're terrible. So you just got to know where they're comfortable at. That's what I do. Offense wins you games. Defense wins you championships. Well, in this case, defense is winning us games too. Look at yesterday. Iowa State under with Texas. Illinois under with Minnesota. And then my lock was Washington State, Oregon State under. So we can win with defense. Absolutely. Again, Dallas under today, Jacksonville under today. I was going to go under with the Niners, but Atlanta can score. And I don't like Mariota, but he's looking okay. So I got to respect that. So that kind of kept me away, but I think the Niners win. But that's you want a good defense. They will always keep you in the game because the other team kicks field goals, or you can bet unders with good defenses. You can't bet unders with teams that have good offenses because you don't know what you're getting. And if you bet on them and the guy throws 3 interceptions, then what do you do with it? So that's where I'm at with that. So let's take a look. It's 12:30. Let's take one more quick look at the line. Let's see what the Sharps in Vegas did because they know more than us, I think. Don't you believe that for a minute? All right. Vegas Insider, which gives us multiple lines. I don't know what to do with this because it gives you like 3 different lines. It'll give you a range. They're favored by 6 to 7.5. Well, what do you? I guess whatever we want, whatever we're looking for. So the Niners here -4, or you can get Atlanta in 5.5, depending on which casino you're at. So somewhere between 4 and 5.5, as well as let's call the total 45. New England's still getting 3 and 43. Green Bay 7.5, 45. Indy's a 2-point favorite, 41. Minnesota lane 3, 45. Cincy 3, 42. Baltimore 5.5, 45.5. So there's not that divergence there. Tampa, here's an 8.5 to 10. I like the 8.5. Where can I find that at? Over under 45. The Rams 9.5, 10.5, 41. Arizona 3, 51. Buffalo 2.5, 3, 53, 54. Philly 6, 6.5, 42. And San Diego 4, 4.5, 45.5. Nothing major in the line movements. Good morning. The free play today, take Dallas under with Kansas City Buffalo over. You missed it yesterday, G, like 17-1. All 3 locks won. I was surprised we didn't do our little 5-teamer, or you didn't take the college. I nailed everything. The lock was USC over, Oklahoma State over, and Washington State under. So everything was great yesterday. So today I got 4 locks going. It's a good lock day, and then there's games that just aren't there, but should be a good game. Should be a good day. You had to pay bills. Okay. I understand that. We all have to pay bills. So I guess that's what's going on. Any other questions, comments? I don't know. I hit 4 teasers with one of the family members yesterday. That was nice. 8-0 on those college teasers. Hey, Sean, you're right. Rising is the man. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Van Dyke didn't do too bad either. I remember I got a question yesterday, should I take Miami? And I said, yeah, they're starting to look good. Yeah, Rising and the kid from Tennessee is the real deal for sure. Just giving a shout out to you, big man. Hey, Joshua, nice to hear from you. Incredible game. Yeah, and we nailed it. That was the free pick. Tennessee over all day. That's what you're looking at the other games for, is to really see the team. You're trying to understand what the team is. Alabama, their defense, and they kept mentioning it, their safeties sucked. And that's always been Alabama's kryptonite. Look at Johnny Manziel. He could scramble and throw. Alabama's set up as the 74 Steelers. It was all running. We're going to stop the run. And we're going to attack the quarterback. That's what Alabama does. How many sacks did Alabama have yesterday? 1, maybe? And they just threw all over them. A team like that will give Alabama fits. The only other team that can give Alabama fits is Georgia, because they will shut Alabama's little deep offense down. And if you can run the ball on Alabama like a Georgia can with enough quarterback, those are the 2 teams. Ohio State and Georgia defensively can beat Alabama. Tennessee and Utah, and I would say Oak State would beat Alabama offensively. I would take Utah over Alabama if they played. It would be the same game as this Tennessee game. USC, I don't know. Where did that defense go on USC? Utah really lit them up. And if you saw the end of the game, it was beautiful. Rising takes them down the field, scores, and it's 40. I think it's 42-41, goes for 2. He runs for it, gets over. They win 43-42. I loved it. I wanted Utah to win because they've already lost to UCLA. So now they'll keep playing. If they had 2 losses in conference, they'd be fucked. But now we still got Utah, and they beat USC. And I'm glad somebody finally beat USC. been driving me nuts. So now UCLA is the top team there. So if you see the USC UCLA game, and Alex first approached me on our 10-team teaser yesterday with going with USC, and I said, no, you got to go over. If you think of taking it, if the only play in the USC UCLA game is go freaking over. And I don't even need to tell you, if you see anything in the 60s, 63, 64, 65, USC UCLA, just sell the house and bet it on the over in that game. That is going to be 100. Very strong offenses and coaches. And as you can see, Utah lights up USC for 40. That was really the first good offensive team they played. And you saw what UCLA and Washington and UCLA and Utah were 75-point games. So that's what we're looking at coming up is that game. Sean, James Madison's very good. Georgia Southern played like they did against Nebraska. Played better defense, incredible game. And I think Georgia State, I had them over, and I think they won. I don't know if they won. I think they won. But Georgia Southern, that's your perfect sleeper team. And Georgia State's better, so it's really good. But that's what you got to get is you got to understand the teams, and then you can bet them. Most people don't. They understand the name. They have no clue what they're doing. I'll bet 300 yards passing. What the hell? Don't bring that in unless you've researched all these quarterbacks against Kansas City and you've researched all the Buffalo games and you see that he throws 300 yards against Kansas City, and Kansas City gives up a lot of 300 yards. So I'd say go look at last week. What did Herbert do against, or what did Derek Carr do against? Did he get 300 yards passing? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But what did Tom Brady get 300 yards passing? So maybe if you're looking at that, that'll help you. If that, but you got to look at that to come up with a bet like that. So I'll look at college today. So I pull the college, I'll pull the games, and I'll put in my own spread, and I'll try to figure out my own the scores. And then either tonight or tomorrow, then I get the actual spread. And the over-unders jump a lot. Like the USC game was started at 59 or 60. I think at the Win or the Venetian, they post. I think the Venetian posts it Sunday night. You can see the lines on the next week's college games, and I guarantee you it was 59 or 60. And by Wednesday it was 65. And then I'm noticing some of my customers are getting screwed because I'll give them the over on Monday and they go, I can't bet it. It's not posted till Wednesday. So they're even fucking their own customers because they're not allowing you to bet. We're going to wait 3 days. Well, aren't you smart enough to see the game and make it a 65? Why do you got to wait 3 days? You're losing action. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They did. Their quarterback had 570. There you go. That's really a telling stat. It tells you James Madison can be beat by a good passing attack, and Georgia State has a good passing attack. So where James Madison beat App State and they're beating all these teams, we have now spotted their weakness, which is a good quarterback. So watch for the upset when they play Georgia State, who beat Georgia Southern, who has a good quarterback and throw for a lot of yards. And that's what we look. So that team will hurt it like Tennessee or Utah would beat Alabama, because Alabama's weakness is the long pass, is the passing attack. And if you have a quarterback who can move, Alabama's fucked. They can't. They want to beat you with a not mobile quarterback, and you run a lot, and then Alabama will win every game because that's how they play the 74. We'll call it Steelers. It's their defense because he was the Perlis was the defensive coordinator. The Steelers went on to Michigan State, and this was the defensive coordinator at Michigan State, is Saban, and he learned, I guarantee you, the Steeler defense from Perlis. So he takes it to Alabama, and they're running the Steeler defense. but that's in the 70s, and the weakness is the passing. So you got to know what type of team, and you got to know the matchup and able to do it. And then you got to look at the defenses. So that's why I bet the game over. Tennessee doesn't have that strong of a defense. I know you're not shutting down Alabama. I know Alabama's going to score, but I know Tennessee's going to score. And that then makes it an over. So that's why I look like today, Dallas-Philly. Why is it an under? Because Dallas' defense and Micah Parsons is going to be all over Hurts. He's not going to be able to have time to throw. And more importantly, he won't be able to run. That shuts Philly down. Dallas is going to just, make it a really low-scoring game. Over under 42, we go 48. I might have already got it in at 49 or 50. This game is not going to come close to it. So that's what happened in the Jacksonville-Philly game, which was a lock under, which we won. Jacksonville's defense. But what I didn't know was Lawrence got stripped of the ball 5 times in the freaking game. No wonder Philly put up 29 points. Lawrence keeps giving them the ball. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I don't know how the hell I stayed under in the game. But that's Lawrence's problem. So I stay away from Lawrence, stay away from Cousins. So that's about it. I don't know anything else. Again, take Buffalo KC over and take Dallas Philly under. Those are your free picks in the pros. Again, I nailed college, just unbelievable. If San Jose State won, I would have won like $5,000 because I had them in, I think, 3 10-team teasers, and they were the 10th team. I'm so frustrated right now. Everything wins, and then there's always the one freaking game that you're like, why did I put them in 3 teasers? But it's with 3 different people, so I give them the best 10, and then I should be shot for doing that. Anyway. I think that's about it. So keep an eye on injuries and late movements. You want to trend it. So that's why I give you the trends. So, don't be too surprised if Denver covers against San Diego, because San Diego doesn't normally win by a lot. That's how you look at the game. You don't there's Herbert, Russell Wilson, Denver. They have a bad coach, da-da-da-da-da. You don't. Yeah, you can look at it like that, but don't be surprised. Good defenses will upset you, so that's why I keep an eye on the defense. So if I take Frisco over Atlanta doesn't have that strong defense. Frisco should score a lot. Tampa Bay Pitt doesn't have a defense. Tampa should score a lot. The Giants have a good defense, so I'm not touching Baltimore today because the defense should shut down Baltimore, and the Giants have been winning somehow. So we look at that. But Cincinnati, I think they're one. They have a very strong defense. So I'm not taking New Orleans today. It's either Cincy or an over game because you got Joe Burrow. But that's what you look at. So you try to learn the team. When you get 2 overs, you go over. When you get 2 unders, you go under. A lot of these games are over versus under. You kind of get a gut feeling on it. Anyway, good luck today, 12:40. You got 20 minutes. Any other questions, comments, anything else, please let me know. Again, www.teaserking.com. You can get my email and email me if you want to do 5-team teasers like G or some of the other people that I do it with. I get 20%. I give you the picks. You bet it. Boom. Just send me the betting slip so I can see what I got bet. And then if you have any other questions or comments or anything. All right, everybody. Well, have a good day. Good luck today. www.teaserking.com. Good luck. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed our class.